Here for Arizona. To our Arizona Gives Day workshop here. I am Angelica Hernandez Williams, the Rural Development Manager for the Alliance of Arizona Nonprofits. And for those who don't know, the Alliance is a statewide association dedicated to serving the needs of the nonprofit organizations across Arizona. And we're going to do this through advocacy, education, and resources which are tailored specifically to the nonprofits. So an easy way to know is we are like a chamber of commerce for nonprofits for the whole state of Arizona. And today I'm joined via Zoom here with our marketing team, who's going to handle all the background work, so there's no issues with any of our tech, as well as our presenter for today, Jennifer Purcell, which you guys will meet later today. And we encourage you to ask any questions throughout the presentation. And as you saw, it is recorded, so we'll make sure to provide this for you as well, so you can share with the rest of your boards. Today's workshop, we will be discussing Arizona Gives Day, how to register, tips to have a successful fundraising day. And we would like to remind you again that your cell phones can be used throughout the presentation. So first off, I have the pleasure of recognizing our workshop sponsors. So this here is my contact information. So if anyone needs to get in touch with me after the presentation or at any point, please do so. It'd be wonderful to reconnect with all of you. But our first sponsor here we have today is going to be Vance Bryce, the Executive Director of the Graham County Chamber. If you have anything you'd like to share or say.
I just had a great day spending the time with her. We went and visited a bunch of places. We did radio this morning, and she knows what she's talking about with some nonprofits. So make sure you're listening, and we're super excited to work with all of you on something that we can collaborate together for Arizona Gives, that we can tell the whole Gila Valley, hey, look at all these nonprofits, here's what's available locally. So we'll be in touch, and they'll be in touch, and we'll make this work.
Awesome, thank you. And then our other sponsor for today has been Eastern Arizona College. Keith Alexander, if you have anything you'd like to say.
No, just welcome. We're happy you're here. We're happy that we're able to be a part of this. You probably are. One of the great things about this valley are the volunteers and the wonderful work that they do here. And we're happy that we can provide a forum for you to know what they're doing further. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. And the gifts, the cups, and the little banners here or flags were provided by Eastern Arizona College, which is wonderful. So now we'd like to introduce our presenter for today, Jennifer Purcell, who is our Senior Vice President and Director of Development. She's also the main organizer behind Arizona Gives Day. And so we are gonna pass it on over to Jennifer. So let me stop sharing my screen here. And then there you go, Jennifer. I think you're still on mute. There we go. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. Thanks for the opportunity and being able to present to all of you today. I really wish I could have been there in person. It just wasn't going to work out, but I'm so happy that we have this lovely technology to connect us and keep us together. And I'm so glad Angelica can be there. I'm going to start my presentation in a second, but if you have questions that come up while I'm going through everything, Angelica, if you would just interrupt me and let me know what someone's questions are. I know when the two gentlemen were just speaking, I couldn't hear them. So you may have to do a little bit of go between there, or if there's a microphone to answer questions. So I am gonna share my screen and we're gonna get started.
Wonderful.
Oops, sorry about that. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to note is you're going to see an extra name on here. I did this presentation just a few days ago, but Natasha, I'm going to mention her because she is our Director of Community Engagement, and I am currently working with her to teach her and help her understand the entire Arizona Gives Day program. So she is going to be a resource for all of you, as in addition to myself going forward. And then Angelica obviously is able to answer questions as well. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to cover some of the basics. So I'm going to go over a few statistics with all of you and what the program's about. We're going to talk about how Arizona Gives works. Why should you participate? There's always questions around that. And I'm going to give you some answers that hopefully will help answer some of those questions. Fundraising strategy and setting goals, why those are both very important steps in deciding to fundraise for Arizona Gives. And then again, updates and changes that we have for 2022, training and workshops that we have coming out. And then if we have time, we can talk a little bit about what the Alliance has going on in 2022. So what is Arizona Gives? It's a year-round giving platform. So many people only know it for Arizona Gives Day, but it actually is available year-round. It's a statewide day of giving, the Arizona Gives Day, which is April 5 and 6 this year. You may notice that that's technically not a single day, but the 24-hour period where we have incentive prizes is a 24-hour period in a single day. There were some changes we made. We polled all of our nonprofits back in 2020 and asked them, would you like to be awake during when Arizona Gives Day starts and ends, or would you still like to keep it from midnight to midnight? So we've moved it based on more than 80% of our respondents saying, you know, we'd really like to start it at noon and then go to noon the next day. So we're awake when it starts and we're awake when it ends. The 24 hours period is really focused on prizes, like when the incentive prizes are, but you've got the whole early giving period, and we'll talk a little bit about that in addition to the actual 24 hours when we do the incentive prizes. $30 million has been raised for Arizona's nonprofits with this program since 2013. So this year actually marks year number 10. We have given away $1.7 million in cash incentive prize money. So that's that 24-hour period that I was talking about. And we help nonprofits basically raise awareness about the work that they do. That's really a huge focus for this program, is getting the word out, helping you get the word out, helping with PR where we can. And we hope that it inspires people to give and helps connect people to the causes that they care about. Arizona Gives is unique in the fact that there are will be over 1,000 organizations on a singular site that donors have the opportunity to donate to. So we're seeing a big increase in organizations that, or I should say donors who are actually giving to multiple organizations. So if someone lives in Graham County, they may look by county and actually see, oh my gosh, there's X number of nonprofits participating. I would like to support all of them. Some of our most recent survey findings and statistics is that nonprofits told us that Arizona Gives Day helped them raise additional money they wouldn't have otherwise. And this is the highest we've seen this percentage. Most likely because of the pandemic and what was going on in early 2021, but 93% said that it definitely helped them. No surprise, most people are using an email and social media campaign strategy. Donors responded saying that 91% of them said that they're extremely or very likely to donate again. So that just speaks to the ease of giving, a reminder that they're receiving every year to give. So we're really happy with that number and that it continues to be high. 22% of our respondents said that it was their first time giving on Arizona Gives Day. And we had 34% who said that they'd given to an organization that they'd never given to before. I can also say that, again, we've seen an increase in the number of organizations a single donor is giving to. So I often get the question, why should I participate? What benefit is that to my organization? What benefit is that going to create for my community? So one of the reasons is the power of collective voice. We focus on nonprofits and the work that you do in your community for a day or two. It gives you an opportunity to talk to local radios, papers, etc., and really focus on all the work that you're doing. And then the Alliance is a partner in this, right? We help with social media, marketing. We do PR campaigns when we have outreach to our PR staff. You know, we're trying to find a local nonprofit to get them in touch with. Another reason that we feel that participation is, you know, a motivator is the ease for the donor. We feel like we have a really good website that makes it easy for people to donate on. Again, that shopping cart experience and donating to more than one cause. There's more opportunity then to receive donations and potentially be introduced to new people. Donors can sort by a variety of filters to find nonprofits or to find them by mission. This is definitely a safer type of crowdfunding because all of the nonprofits who are participating have been fully vetted. We make sure that they're legitimate 501c3s, their organization hasn't closed from year to year if they don't renew. We want to make sure that our nonprofits are feeling like everyone on the website, you know, is equal, and that our donors know that it's a safe place for them to donate. The ease of tracking your annual donations and recurring donations for donors is a big draw. We're seeing more and more people set up donor accounts so that they can track their donations for the year and have an easy place to resend receipts for themselves or to even get a compilation of what they've provided for the year. Creation of a personal fundraiser page. So if you have a donor who says, I really want to help this organization out, they could go out there today and create a fundraiser page for you or for your nonprofit and fundraise at any time of the year. That's available, no additional cost for any of the participating organizations for their fundraiser pages to be active and to be used by others. We have pre-made graphics. We call it marketing campaign in a box. So materials are created, they're ready to use, and oftentimes there's space for them to be customized with your logo. We have incentive prizes. So there's an opportunity for additional cash. There's 150 to 180,000. Actually, next week, we're determining all of the prizes. We're going to be getting all the details together and then out to you. And then the cool thing is that about 10% of our nonprofits actually will win an incentive prize, ranging from $500 up to $5,000, possibly even $7,500. Nonprofit participating organizations can only win one prize. They can't win more than one. They just get to take the prize home that they win, that is the highest dollar amount, and then the next person essentially who is eligible for the prize that they had to not collect goes on to another organization. And then lastly, the profile pages and technology. There's a lot of opportunity for you to customize your profile with donation designations, meaning you can allow donors to choose a particular program if you desire to have their money go to, or it can just simply be unrestricted. We all love unrestricted funds. You can update images, videos, items you might need, events, volunteer opportunities, etc. And then fundraiser campaigns, like I said, aren't extra, and you can use the website year-round if you desire. Angelica, I'm going to stop there and see if there's any questions.
There are not any questions yet.
Okay.
Okay.
So before you get started, you have to be a 501c3 organization located in Arizona or providing services in the state of Arizona. I really want to stress that, we want you to understand how Arizona Gives throughout the year and Arizona Gives Day works. As I said, the terms of service and liability, it's not a fun document to read, but it's really necessary for you to understand how you're going to get your donations, what some of the guidelines are. We do have some instructions if you've never participated before on the steps that you need to take, but overall it's a pretty simple process. So registration for 2022 actually opened in November 1st. We are closing registration on February 28th. There is an annual registration fee, but much of that is actually refundable as long as you raise $500 on the website in the 3 weeks, so March 15 to April 6th, and we will refund that registration deposit. Anyone who registers after beginning February 21st through the 28th, that last week, we do have a $25 late processing fee because we're within a month of when we're really kicking off the campaign. So the approval process, you complete the inquiry form. There's only one time that you have to do it. So if you've never participated before, you only have to do that once. And it really just helps us understand, are you a legitimate 501c3? And then the next process is to start with your profile page. So you'll log in. Once you get that approval and pay deposit, you'll complete your new or update your profile page if you are re-enrolling. You'll submit your profile page for approval by February 28th. And then you can continue actually updating and adding to your profile page up until literally the day before Arizona Gives. However, I have a little blue bubble there that reminds everyone that early giving starts March 15th. So really that is the deadline that I think everyone should have their profile pages updated. You have all the information you want on there because that's when we really start all driving traffic to the website. So fundraising and strategy, having a plan, those are all really, really key pieces to participating in Arizona Gives. And if there's nothing else that you get from this, whether you're doing an online fundraising event or just fundraising in general, you really have to have a strategy and a plan. I think Arizona Gives is a little different because it's online. Social media, one thing that you might want to consider is looking at increasing your followers and having what we call a likes campaign before you get into Arizona Gives. You could even start that in the month of February in preparation for that. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. There's information out there. We talked a little bit about that in marketing campaign creations in a webinar last year that is available online if you want to look at part 1 and part 2. But increasing your followers is one way to try and get more exposure. So if you already have followers, you already have donors, maybe your board members have friends that you could encourage them to ask their network to like your page so that they can start to get information about what you do. One other thing that you can do to strategize and plan is prepare all of your social media posts ahead of time. So whether you're using just one, so if you only use Facebook, or maybe you only use Instagram, maybe you only use LinkedIn, depending on the type of organization you are. Make sure you prepare your posts ahead of time. It'll make your life much easier, and determine when you want to start sending out save the dates or really pushing your donors to give or asking them to give. Another strategy and communication plan would be email communication. Again, preparing those before the day, even preparing them if you're going to start communicating via email in March, doing the day of and even before, so that it's all kind of ready to go. And because if you've ever done an Arizona Gives Day, you know that you can kind of get sidetracked with things going on during the day, questions donors might have, or even maybe you're focused on thank you calls during the day and don't necessarily want to worry about putting together another email during that hectic time. Matching grants. Always get lots of questions about matching grants. These are a strategy that you can use to incentivize your donors to give. So you may want to secure a matching grant from a business or even a major donor. And what it does is it helps incentivize the donors to say, if I donate $1, then the matching grant is going to match whatever I am giving. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. And oftentimes donors are very attracted to that. They want to help the nonprofit raise even more, and they feel like their money is going further. Matching grants, we do not provide any matching grants, but you do have the opportunity to include matching grants on your profile pages so that your donors can see whether you do or do not have a matching grant. Use of fundraiser pages. In my opinion, fundraiser pages are probably the most underutilized tool that can have some of the greatest impact for your organization. Fundraiser pages can be created by individuals. They can also be created by businesses. So if you have a local business who wants to support your group and create their own fundraiser page that they send out to their employees, maybe they send it out to their clients and people they work and interact with and say, help us support XYZ nonprofit. Those are things that you can ask your biggest supporters to help you with. I've seen some organizations where their entire board creates a fundraiser page. The cool thing about our system is that once you get into the back end, there is an area called Neon Raise. And within Neon Raise, you actually have the opportunity to create templates. So you may want to create a different template for your board members than you do for your community members that might create a fundraiser page. Or maybe you have a lot of volunteers and you want to create a different fundraiser template page for them. But you can make it even easier for them by creating a template that you can then send out an email out to them asking them to do this. The biggest thing is that the more fundraisers you have and the more people you have fundraising for you, obviously the more money organizations tend to raise. And then the last piece of strategy, which I think a lot of people forget about, is that follow-up piece for donor retention. If everyone has different size organizations, but if you can't do it as the employee of an organization, assign a volunteer or a board member to assist you with thank you calls and sending out thank you letters. I give to a number of organizations on Arizona Gives Day myself, and it's always really, really interesting to see what that donor retention process looks like for each organization. It's kind of surprising. I have a lot of groups that I've given to that are very large and actually surprised me by not really sending a follow-up, not sending a thank you. And then I've had organizations that are really small who do a fantastic job of following up and thanking their donors. So I encourage you that this is a gateway into potentially additional dollars from a donor. I know that I have heard from some donors who maybe have a little more income or ability to donate that use Arizona Gives as a testing ground, actually. They test giving a donation of $25 or $50 to see if they receive a thank you. And then if they do and they're happy with the response, then they'll turn around and give more. It's been really interesting. I've heard that from several people, but they want to see what that reaction is. Angelica, any questions or from the group there?
Yes, we have some questions.
Okay.
You had your hand, yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Yes.
Are there any administration fees taken out of the donations or administer the program?
What are there any administrative fees taken out of the donations?
Yes, there are fees. So we have one that we call a donation fee. The donation fee can be covered by the donor, or they can choose to cover it or not to cover it. That donation fee, what it goes towards is it helps pay the technology company for the use of their platform. And it also, portion of that donation fee, which is 5.4%, also goes to assist the Alliance in continuing running the program year round. For transparency, which is also on our website, we actually have calculated what it costs the Alliance to run the program for the year. And it's somewhere between $350,000 and $400,000 to run the program year round. That includes, fundraising for the incentive prize pool as well, which is, like I said, was about 150, 180 of that. And the way that the amount of dollars that we earn off of today's, dollars that come in through the system, it covers about 35% of what we need to run the program. So the rest of that money that we need to run the program, we fundraise for you and us to be able to continue running this program. So we fundraise about 65 to 70% of what we need to continue running this program for everyone. There is a fee on the back end for nonprofits, simply for merchant services. There is a flat fee, no matter what kind of payment type, of 2.5%. And that is based on an average of all of the different payment types that come in. That's what the average has been. And so we were able to simplify that this year. Previously, we had different rates for different kinds of cards, and it was very complex for everyone, including us and the nonprofits. So we've been able to simplify that and make a flat rate.
But it is.
That answer everyone's question? It's all on the website too.
There was another question that came up, but before we get to that, I wanted to note that the majority of donors do check to cover that fee. So
over 80% of them choose to cover that.
And ma'am, what was your question?
It seems that the prize categories change annually.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's just dependent on how much funds y'all have raised to go into the, okay. So you don't know, like I tried to look ahead of time to see if I can see what the prize categories are, and I have not been able to find that.
So they have a question about the prize categories, if there's a way to find that information ahead of time.
Prize categories, yes. We that's what we're working on next week. So we're hoping that we'll have all the prize categories figured out. I actually had a call today with one of our sponsors of the incentive prize pool, and thankfully got a yes that they're in for this year and supporting it. It's actually the Freeport McMoran and supporting the rural prize pool. So I got a yes on that. So next week we're gonna move forward with putting all of those different 100 or so prizes together.
So stay posted. Okay, and no more questions.
Okay, great. And then the last thing I had in here was just planning. I've already mentioned that, but the more you plan, the easier your day is going to go. Okay, trainings and workshops that we have coming up. We have a lot. We've already had, I'll show the on-demand ones next, but we have these live trainings coming up. I think there's even one more that's been added. Karina, who's on the call with us from our events team, actually was able to get an additional one scheduled, but we have quite a few live trainings that are available for everyone. And then we also have on demand. So we have, I mentioned Neon Rays, right? Neon Rays is where you can see your key performance indicators for Arizona Gives, or your KPIs. You can manage all of your fundraiser campaigns on the back end. You can pull reports using Neon Rays. So we have an on-demand almost demo to help you understand how to use that functionality in the platform. We just earlier in January, we had a webinar on how any organization can find and engage business partners. And then we have some webinars that are still very relevant from last year. Arizona Gives Marketing and Campaign Creation, I mentioned that earlier. We also have information on how to rock a peer-to-peer campaign, peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. And then we're gonna, in March, we're gonna pre-record. I'm gonna do a webinar on all about donations. I think I've done these every single year that I've been here. All about donations, so everyone who's participating understands how they're getting their money, how frequently money is dispersed, etc. And then what to expect before, during, and after Arizona Gives Day. So those will all be released in March. So another key component to a successful Arizona Gives Day is making sure that your goals are realistic and that they're for your organization. I've mentioned incentive prizes. The incentive prizes they're incentives for you as a nonprofit, but they're also incentives for your donor. But they are not everything. Some organizations may say, I don't want to worry about incentive prizes. I just want to focus on what my dollar goal is. But I also want to let you know that there's more than just your dollar goal that you should be thinking about. Whoops. One of the, I'm going to list several ways here that you can be thinking about what is a realistic goal or goals for your organization. So you may want to look at the number of donors that you're getting. If you've participated in the past, perhaps you want to grow the number of donors that you've received. You can look at new donors versus repeating donors. Dollars raised, of course, is one way to look at it, but you could also take a look at the early giving period versus the 24-hour period versus maybe a specific hour. If you're an organization that's found success in targeting in on one particular power hour, then, or an hour where you're trying to get donors to donate $50 or more, those are all benchmarks that you can use year over year, or just to start with to create some realistic goals for your organization. Maybe you've never had anyone do a fundraiser. Maybe you want to set a goal that we're going to have 5 fundraisers this year and create a template for the first time. Maybe a realistic goal for your organization is how many board members or volunteers get involved this year, determining how they can assist or what they can assist with. Increasing the number of social media followers. Start now, ask your board members to assist with asking friends and family, their network. Maybe there's businesses out there who you work with that support and love your organization. And they may be able to ask their friends to start following you on social media. I didn't put this in here, but email addresses. That's another way to start increasing your followers as well. Sorry, my mouse got out of control there. Is a realistic goal for you thanking donors? Potentially, maybe you forgot to do that part last year, or you didn't do it the way that you wanted to, or it wasn't maybe as soon as you would have liked to. Calling and personally thanking them within a day or week, maybe that's a goal. And who can help with that simple but really important task? And then after the day has occurred, again, the cultivation of donors is another huge component of this. Adding their email addresses to newsletters, or asking them if they would like to be included in future communications when you're thanking them, or inviting them. If you have a physical facility, maybe you want to invite them to come out and meet them. Those are all goals, and that's part of the Arizona Gives. It's not only acquiring and bringing in dollars, but it's also about the retention and bringing them in further. So we've got several system and improvement additions that I wanted to make sure to mention to you. So we have a couple new ways to direct traffic to your profiles on Arizona Gives. when you log in, there is an option for you to have an embeddable donation button that you can download. And there's also the ability for you to have a QR code that directs people directly to your profile page. So those are both tools that you can use on your website, and the QR code can be printed on materials that go out as well. So we've also added an additional option for any videos that you may have from Vimeo to be listed. Previously, it was just YouTube as an option. We also have a new feature that's going to be rolling out this year called Repeat Your Donation. And this doesn't require any work by you, but if you've participated in Arizona Gives in the past and you had donors, the donors will be receiving an email saying, you gave to this one or these 10 organizations on Arizona Gives last year. Would you like to repeat your donation? Yes or no? If they click yes, it automatically loads all of these into their shopping cart with an option for them to increase that donation or add additional nonprofits to their cart, making it very simple for them to give. Because if they've already given to a number of organizations previously, they're more apt, based on the statistics we've seen earlier on the presentation, to give again, and it will make it easier for them to remember who they gave to last year and likely to give again. The ability for nonprofits to send thank you emails from the platform, that's going to be coming soon. I don't know when that is going to be released, and I don't know yet whether it's going to be available in time for Arizona Gives Day, but I know it will be released sometime this year. There's a couple functionality things that I personally would like to see changed before we roll it out. One of them being that it's customizable for what you type, but the format is not customizable, meaning it has the Arizona Gives Day logo at the top, but I would really love it for it to also have your logo at the top. So I'm kind of working with them on some of those technology enhancements, but it would be great for all of you to be able to send a personalized communication directly from the system. These are a few things you may or may not be aware of that were added in 2021. We have a resource center. So when you log in to the back end of the system, you're going to see one of the tab options is Resource Center. And there are helpful articles, technology guides, technology solutions in there. So check that out and see if there's information in there that would be really helpful. In 2021, we added Neon Raise. So I talked about that a little bit earlier. And that included updated fundraiser pages and the peer-to-peer, as well as all of those KPIs that I talked about. We also added the opportunity for you to include volunteer opportunities, as well as any items that your organization might need, or you can also add events. Currently, the volunteer opportunities and the events are searchable on the public-facing side as a group. So if I were looking for volunteer opportunities in Graham County, I could go to the volunteer page as an individual and look by county and see what opportunities there might be. This does require the nonprofit to remember to go in and update this information on their profile throughout the year. We do have quarterly reminders that will be coming to kind of help people and remind them of that they can list their events, they can list their volunteer opportunities. And we as the Alliance are going to start sending more regular communication to Arizona Gives donors, meaning maybe once a month, we would send and highlight a nonprofit and the great work they're doing, maybe how a nonprofit is using the funds that they've received on Arizona Gives, and also driving them to these pages, such as volunteer opportunities and upcoming events. And then we also began showing nonprofit goals, matching grants, giving totals, et cetera, when we started the early giving period, and not just on the 24-hour period. I've got a couple quick ways that you can stay informed of Arizona Gives news. Obviously, we have our newsletters and emails that you can subscribe to. We also have our Alliance social platforms, and we also have Arizona Gives platforms. I do want to make a distinction between those two. The Alliance platforms are specifically for nonprofits, and not that anyone can follow the Alliance, but you're going to find more news geared towards Arizona Gives and what nonprofits need to know. The Arizona Gives platforms are going to focus more on what the donors need to know. So you can follow both, but just know the information you receive on those might be a little bit different. And that's the end of my presentation for Arizona Gives. Angelica, are there any questions?
Any other questions? No? Oh, yes, we do have one.
So is the registration fee on top of being a member of the Alliance, or you don't need to be a member of the Alliance?
So you do not need to be a member of the Alliance to participate in Arizona Gives Day. But if you do, yeah, it's 2 separate fees.
But if you don't belong and you want a prize, it's going to be a reduced price. So it pays to belong if you're going to win a prize.
Is that true, Jennifer, that if you win a prize, your prize is reduced?
No. Nope. There is one singular like prize area that is for Alliance members only. Like I think it's maybe like 10 of the 100 or 110 prizes are specifically only available to Alliance members. All of the rest are available to anyone, to any member, non-member. I think 60% of our participants last year were not members of the Alliance.
But you can use your prize money towards your membership for the Alliance, so that could be where the reduction.
Of course.
Right?
One of the 10 prizes
Mhm.
didn't because we forgot.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
what it was.
All right. So there we go. Any additional questions? No, we're good, Jennifer.
Okay, Angelica, did you want me to go over the Alliance things, or are you gonna?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Okay, so I wanted to just share a few things that are happening for the Alliance in 2022. First of all, great segue, whoever asked that question, because if you're currently not a member, we actually have membership scholarships available for organizations who haven't been a member in the last, I can't remember if it's 2 years or 3 years, one of those two. And the scholarships provide 50% off of your membership for the first year. If you have a limited professional development budget, your membership is going to help with that, because there is a significant amount of education and professional development that we do that is free for members and their staff and even their board members. And Angelica can probably go on for days with all the different things that we have going on as well. But we do, for those events that are not free, we have a few. Some of those are our longer, more in-depth capacity building workshops. We do have scholarships available for people for those as well. So just look for those opportunities. We have some fantastic supporters of the Alliance and of the Arizona nonprofit sector who believe in the work that all of you are doing, and they want to support you in that work. So what's happening in 2022? So professional development learning, we have approximately 10 to 15 workshops or learning events per month. These are sorted by 8 different topics of interest, which are kind of in this upper right-hand quadrant. I know that's hard to see. I'll read them for you, but it's advocacy, board development, executive, programs and volunteers, development, marketing, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and HR and finance. So if you go to our events page on our website, you can sort by all of those topics depending on what your role is in the organization that you're at. Or perhaps maybe you are a Jack or Jill of all trades, like many of us are if we're in smaller organizations, then you can go and look for the type of information that you're looking for. Like I said, Alliance members and their entire team and boards, benefits, most of these are free. From a technology standpoint, we are rolling out a new learning management system, or LMS, as what many of you may know. Where I have that down for first quarter. It may be at the very beginning of the second quarter that we end up doing that. As you can imagine, there's a lot of things to upload into that. So our education will be a mixture of both on demand and available through the learning management system and live. So there'll be combination of that. We have only a couple events right now that are in person that are scheduled. You know, all of that's dependent on what goes on with the pandemic, or hopefully it's an endemic at this point. And then we actually are embarking on a new association management system, and which means we'll be building a whole brand new website. So if any of you have ever done that, it's going to be quite the project. So we have some really big technology issues that in the long run is going to be extremely helpful and beneficial for not only us, but all of our members. We have some significant capacity building programs that are being launched in 2022. In our next newsletter, we are announcing and sharing the How to Start a Nonprofit Guide. It's a 40-page guide that has worksheets, it has resources, it has step-by-step processes, and it really is meant to help someone understand, first of all, help them understand what's involved with running a nonprofit and determining what is the best structure for the impact you're trying to make. So is it, you know, is a nonprofit the best structure, or maybe a B Corp or an LLC could potentially be a better structure for what you're trying to accomplish. So we help them understand that. And then if they ultimately decide after going through all the worksheets, yes, that's for me, then it tells them what they need to know as they go into it, you know, talking with the Arizona Corporate Commission, all the steps they need to take, et cetera. Nonprofit Life Cycles program is going to now be available on demand as well. And actually was getting into the website today to start do some testing on that. So that we're really excited about that program being available. It previously has been online, but it's only been available as a group work. This is going to also be available for individuals to take. We're going to be expanding and adding board governance programming to this learning management system, and expanding the offerings for board governance, both for executives as well as for board members. In the second quarter, we're just had a meeting about this morning, actually. We have a brand new finance loan navigator program starting in the second quarter. We actually are just finished doing all of the recordings for the on-demand workshops. And this program is really to help CEOs and board members navigate the finances of their organization, help them understand the benefits of loans, and basically all essentials and strategies behind finances to really help them position themselves for the future, making sure they have the right banking relationship. All of this was started as a result of the PPP loans. We had a lot of groups who were really struggling and understanding their finances, understanding how to fill out the paperwork for the loan. And so it is a deep dive into that, and it's going to be really, really great to have that. And then we're working later in the year on a transitional leadership. Many of you may have heard it as succession planning. It'll have components of that, but how do you transition leadership when you know that the leadership is going to change and when you don't? So when it's a surprise and it comes up, what does the board need to know, and what are their next steps when that happens? We have a number of things happening for equity, diversity, and inclusion. We have readiness workshops that are starting. The first one will be in March. It'll be in person. We'll have one that's virtual in April, and another in-person one in May. And that is really all about determining where your organization is at and whether you're ready to take the next step to action. It is really just the first open conversation and figuring out, are we ready to take on this work or not? What are other things we need to do? We are hoping to plan creating cohorts. These are the in-depth groups that are actually going to be putting pen to paper and taking action on their DE&I work. And then we have tons of individual workshops coming up. Excuse me, I'm going to take a quick drink.
And we do have a question.
Is the Alliance competitive with or complementary to the ASU Lodestar program?
Great question. So if you didn't hear that, Jennifer, they were asking how we partner with the ASU Lodestar program.
Good question. So all members of the Alliance can receive 10% off any of the ASU, the NMI or the Nonprofit Management Institute workshops. Did that answer the question, this question?
Competition to, or are you complementary with
We work,
Lodestar?
we're complementary. We don't compete with them because we partner on a lot of other programs as well. And so we refer back and forth for nonprofits depending on what their needs are. So
Very
yeah.
good. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. We do get asked that a lot. I think that there's a difference in the fact that we offer a lot of one-off workshops. The pricing for those workshops is quite a bit different. ASU really has more certification programs, so they tend to be a little bit longer in scope sometimes. I just think that there's a difference in the types of workshops being offered, and maybe the focus or the variety of some of those. So I think that there's absolutely a place for both of us and what we offer from that standpoint.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, I've taken a certificate program at ASU, and I know others who have done that, and they also attend educational and professional development capacity building programs with the Alliance too. So
At least 10 of them. That'd be great.
So we do have a couple new cost savings partnerships. So Neon One is actually the technology company that we use for Arizona Gives. Their CRM product now syncs with Arizona Gives Day data. I actually just spoke with a group in Flagstaff who said we're really interested in learning more about this. Our small organization only uses the Arizona Gives platform to do their fundraising, so they don't have to have another merchant account to manage that. But we're very interested in that. And today, I think there's about 20 nonprofit organizations who participate in Arizona Gives who also use Neon One CRM's product. So I know they are all very happy that that information will sync. So that's a new partnership cost savings program. And then TriNet is a professional employer organization. Basically, they do everything under the moon, the stars, et cetera, HR related and benefits related. So there's a lot of opportunities. So we're really excited about that partnership. That is for employers with 5 or more. That's the lowest that they go. That's for payroll purposes. So they do all the payroll. So they need to work with groups that have 5 or more employees. But the cool thing about that is that as far as the healthcare goes, in order to use their healthcare, you only need 5 belly buttons is what they call it. So that means that maybe only 2 of your staff members plus their spouses and kids, and you're already at 5. You're well past 5. So it's a great opportunity for those groups who qualify with those 5 employees. Summits, we're changing our summits up a little bit. We've done them by region, like Northern Arizona, Southern Arizona, and we're changing them up so that they're focused on topic. And the summits are all going to be virtual. They're going to be half days, morning. So we'll have a keynote, we'll have a learning session, and followed by a workshop for that half day. And then on August 25, we actually are going to do a 1-day in-person conference that will be held in Phoenix at Desert Willow. So if any of you have been to the Desert Willow Conference Center in the past where we've held our previous conferences, we'll be returning there in August for a 1-day versus 2 days, what we've done in the past, conference. And then promise, this is my last slide. Advocacy, just want to let you know that our nonprofit day of advocacy down at the state capitol is happening on March 10th. We'd love to have our Alliance members, non-members join us. We have monthly nonprofit policy council meetings. Those actually are all held virtually, so we'd love to have you join. You can let Angelica know if you're interested in that. We can get you on the list to get the Zoom links and information on that. We have lots of networking and peer sharing opportunities. Angelica obviously is doing a lot of networking in rural Arizona. Anyone who's a CEO or part of the C-suite, we have roundtables through our one group. We merged with Organization for Nonprofit Executives 2 years ago. So Natasha is leading that. And then in February, we're starting Equity and Inclusion Council with Natasha leading that and our Director of Marketing, Angela. And then the last thing I wanted to say is that we have a new roommate. They are actually starting to move in tomorrow. Arizona Grantmakers Forum, AGF, we often use that acronym. They are the statewide philanthropy association. So whereas the Alliance is the statewide nonprofit association, the Arizona Grantmakers Forum focuses on the funders and the philanthropy community. These are private foundations, community foundations, as well as corporate foundations and community affairs companies. So they bring those thought leaders and stakeholders in the community together. And we've already been doing a lot together the last probably 4 or 5 years. And so they are moving in with us, becoming roommates, and we're going to determine if there's going to be a little bit more than roommates that happens at that point, but we're really excited to have them in our official space. I did want to mention, while our offices are located in Phoenix, some of our members have lived in Camp Verde. Karina, actually on the call here today, helping us with some of the tech stuff, lives in Tucson. We have Angelica and Sierra Vista. So we know that that is going to continue. I also wanted to mention that we have board members around the state. We've got a board member in Tucson. We have one in Yuma. We have one up in the Hopi Foundation, or with the Hopi Foundation on the Hopi Reservation. And we have another board member in Flagstaff. So we are excited to, have that representation. We'd love to see if there's someone that would be interested that's in your area or Graham County that would be a great representative too. So, and with that, any other questions?
Yes.
Yes, this is somewhat new to me, but if I go to the website, will I see a list of all the other organizations that are on it?
When you say for Arizona Gives Day or for the Alliance?
Both.
Both, yes. So when you're on Arizona Gives Day website, they have the opening that lists all of them, and then they have a great search. So you can search through the mission, or you can search via the county, however you want to narrow it down. And so that shows the list there. And then on the Alliance, you're going to want to go to the tab that has a directory, and that'll list specific to our members. There's not a nonprofit directory as a whole yet. But this is what she's showing. This is the website. And so as you can see, mission or county is how you can search. Yeah. And so sometimes if you go to county headquarters, that will give you the one specific to Graham County. As you saw when you just put Graham, it was service areas. So obviously the organizations that maybe are based in Phoenix or serve statewide, they count their service area as Graham County as well. But this is who has registered so far for Graham County, were those 4 organizations.
Are headquartered in Graham County. So
Right.
There could be an organization headquartered in Cochise County that services Graham County as well. And so that's where you would find them in the service area. These are all organizations who work across the state. and specifically work in Graham County as well.
Any other questions? All right, we are good, Jennifer.
All right. As I, showed on the last slide for Arizona Gives, if you have questions about that, we've got a nice little blue support button at the on the Arizona Gives website that you can click, and we can help answer any of your questions regarding that. Obviously, Angelica can get you in touch with myself or Natasha on our team. And we'd love to answer any questions, even the ones that you think of after you're driving home tonight. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope that to see many of you participating again this year for Arizona Gives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last step, if you guys could just please fill out your survey that was handed to you so we know how we did today, if there's any additional information you need. There is Jennifer Purcell's contact information as well, if anyone's interested in it.
That's that.